Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Uminekos.
Yeah, that's the word I would go with. Sea cats and all that.
That's right. Sea cats. Fucking sea cats.
Welcome back. Sorry, I shouldn't bring that up. This is a bad time.
It's a bad time for sea cats.
I'm not feeling good about this.
This is not a sea cats moment.
This is more like a depressing moment. Anyway, how are you?
I've been very well. It's been a week since the last recording.
It has.
And we're gonna power through this episode 5 ending.
Though I believe you had something you wanted to bring up before we continue.
I did. In the week between, you might have noticed over the past few episodes, I've been like, but Erika didn't see the bodies, and like...
You're trying to find this one line.
I couldn't remember what the proper justification was for her not seeing the bodies, because I knew that I'd seen it, but I couldn't remember what it was. And I spent literal hours looking for it.
I feel you.
Like, I was messaging Ben over the course of, I think, about 6 hours, like, I can't find it. But I finally...
You persevered.
Thanks to the wonderful Vice.
Yay.
Vice Golbez, is that how you say the name?
Yeah, that sounds right. Golbez, Vice Golbez.
He was like, just
He's
go back
German.
to the start. And I was like, okay. And there it was.
Yeah.
They covered the bodies. Which
They covered the bodies with a cloth.
Which
with
is
the
also
bed sheets,
which is also brilliant for assuming Battler is an accomplice, because in no episode has he ever been cover the corpses. It's always don't touch them, the police need to see. So it's just so fucking suspicious that they do that in the first place.
Well, of course, I can either confirm or deny any of this, but yeah.
So linked in the description on this one will be my massive write-up that I made in between last week and this week.
Yeah.
On episode 5.
I've read it. It's good shit.
So you can have a look there. It
Get on there.
kind of covers the stuff that we've been working on already, like with the whole meta theory about authors, and also goes into a bit about the relationship between Burnlander and the game board. Another thing.
The Voyager Witches.
Yeah, another thing that was inspired by Vice. Shout out to you.
You're my main girl, Vice. Yo.
Yeah, and
what up?
So current rundown: Twilight 1 fake deaths and were killed later. Twilight 2. Hideyoshi didn't die, and Andrew was the first in the room. It was just all faked.
Okay.
Because everyone else supposedly had an alibi, and then the letter didn't happen. I think that's all the mysteries we've had so far. We had Kinzo's room, but we kind of already knew that was bogus.
There's also like the phone calls.
I've already the whole thing with the phone calls I haven't
Kraus, is confirmed dead in the red, I believe.
Yeah. It's interesting.
There is a killer.
It's interesting about Kraus, where, like, it's almost like it's a mystery that's still there, but it's both so easy for it to happen and we never actually get to see the result that is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird episode in that we kind of cut things off before we even finished everything, right? Like, we only got to half of the second Twilight, question mark? And then that's it. Erika's like, you know what? I think it's time to make a verdict. You know, we don't actually get to go through the whole epitaph or anything. I'm sure there were plenty of closed room murders, you know, prepared for us, but we didn't get to see them. Yeah,
I think the other interesting thing is the whole claim that in episode 2 where Beatrice is like, in red, I keep my promises.
Yeah.
But then after the epitaph's solved, there are still murders going on. So there are two things that implies to me. Is either it's a different culprit, which will be a very interesting thing to try work out, because I don't think there's been many clues this episode that I've kind of spotted about who could possibly have done these murders.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is that Ronave said this game is being played without love.
Yeah.
So that could kind of be like the thing there where it's
I definitely do want to talk about that. What do you think that means? What do you mean if this game is without love?
I think probably what it means is that it's like whoever is orchestrating this whole thing is not doing it to try like appeal to anyone or like seal off their heart or whatever. Because we've had this whole thing where it's like at the end of episode 4 we got that flashing text of like, why can't I love anymore, and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like whoever is the culprit in this episode, I'm assuming it's still the same culprit, but I think it's probably that they're basically being played on the game board differently. They're not playing to their original motivation, they're playing to their original outcome, if that makes sense.
Well, we do know that rather than Beatrice playing, it's now Lambda.
Yeah.
So, and it was Beatrice who said that she keeps her promises.
That's true.
Very interesting. Alright, I'm good to continue. It was very good talking with you.
Let's go, dude.
Alright. After being forced into a marriage she hadn't wanted, Natsu developed a grudge against the Ashumia family and was filled with a desire for revenge. From the trial synopsis, page 3.
What? Okay.
Natsu, also hoping to take revenge for the financial submission her parents' family had been forced into by the Ashumias, schemed to capture the Ashumia family's wealth. From the trial synopsis, page 4. Knowing that the wealth of the Ashuma family was, in practical terms, under Kinzo's personal control, she initiated sexual relations to curry favor with him and managed to ensnare him. From the trial synopsis, page 7. From the Burn Castle docs, page 682.
Oh boy, is that...
We get some kind of documents about the trial. To curry favor with Kinzo, Natsu repeatedly imitated Beatrice, the witch of Kinzo's delusions, and engaged in sexual acts. Kinzo saw his long-lost mistress in Natsu and was easily ensnared. Furthermore, by chance, she was sometimes witnessed in disguise by the servants, and this became part of the foundation for the legend of the witch. From the trial synopsis, page 8. From presented evidence, number 17. From the Burn Castle documents, page 802, rather.
Wait,
much further in.
But why is the trial synopsis page 8 200 pages later in the Burn Castle documents?
Well, I assume that there's like the Burn documents, and then this is like one of the trials from within that, or a trial.
I know, but if we go up, page 7 was on page 682, and then page 8 was on page 802.
This is a lot of notes and a lot of coffee stains. They had to rip some pages out. You know, that's pretty great. I don't know, which is a weird. However, late at night on October 4th, 1986, Ashumia Battler discovered the hidden gold. The relatives were in an uproar and decided that Battler should succeed the headship, so Natsu planned the crime. She murdered the children in the so-called cousin room and tried to frame Battler for the crime. Furthermore, Genji was murdered for opposing this scheme. Later on, Hideyoshi was also murdered. From this point on, she displayed the strong intent to indiscriminately murder all those involved. From the trial synopsis, page 27. From supplemental materials, B, page 61. For the Burn Castle documents, page 1100.
It's getting further, this is ludicrous.
And 3. This is great. The following outlines the details of the crime.
I'm imagining in my head right now, it's like this massive, like, room-sized book.
Yeah.
And then just, like, stuck onto the pages.
Yeah,
or,
definitely.
like, smaller pages.
Yeah, definitely. Like, notepads and shit, yeah. Sticky notes. Midnight, October 4th, 1986. Natsu decided to commit the crime. She asked Genji to assist her, but was refused, so she murdered him. She then murdered her husband, Kraus, in his own room. In the trial synopsis, page 40, from supplemental materials S, page 8, from Burn Castle documents.
Wait a minute,
page
hold
1000.
on! Now it's gone up by 2 for 13 pages! What is this shit?
You know what? It's witches, man. It's magic. It doesn't need to make sense. Page 1105, GC... I'm trying to wonder what GC is. General Court? I don't know. Internal Documents, General Affairs, AO9, number 9974.
What the fuck?
This is getting more complicated.
GC, what is that?
It might be General Court? I don't know. Or maybe God's Court?
It might be that.
What if it was God's Court? That'd be great.
What did they call the court that...
The Court of Illusions.
That's right.
Which is a great name.
And then there's also another one that Dlanor serves, right? Let me actually check the tips.
Yeah, I think I know what it is, but let's check. Is the Ecclesiarchy of something something.
The Great Court, yeah.
It is the Great Court. What if it was God's Court, though? What if that was actually what they called it? That would have been great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Great Court of Heaven.
Yeah, close enough. I was on the right track. Point is, 1974. Afterwards, she went to the so-called cousin room on the second floor of the guest house, waited for Rosa to join the rest, and killed George, Jessica, Maria, and Rosa. She damaged the necks of those corpses. Afterwards, because there were people in the lounge on the first floor, she waited in an empty room on the second floor. She hid in this empty room until the people in the lounge dispersed and went to bed. From the trial synopsis, oh god, page 41. From the supplemental materials S, page 10. From the Burn Castle documents, page 1131. From the Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs, AO9, number 9974.
Now, that's the same one. Okay, so we got one that's the same. We've got up 26 pages for one.
This is brilliant.
2 pages for whatever. It's a mess. It's a mess.
It's God's fucking court. You don't tell him how to run things. The people in the lounge dispersed just after 3 a.m. Natsu left the empty room and escaped from the guest house. She returned to her personal room where she met up with Kinzo, who had been hiding there. She stayed there until morning. Kinzo left the room early next morning and concealed himself somewhere near the guest house. From the trial synopsis, page 41, from supplemental materials S, page 29, from the Berncastle documents, page 1200, from Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs AO9, 9974.
I'm not going back to check, this is just getting too much.
Afterwards, Kinzo saw his chance and carried off the corpses of the 6 victims one by one, hiding them. Unfortunately, these hidden corpses have not been found. From the trial synopsis, page 42, from supplemental materials S, page 37, from Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs AO9, number 9974. No Berncastle documents that time, interestingly. Natsui, who had failed in her scheme to cast suspicion on Battler, changed her plan to include the murder of all present. From the trial synopsis, page 58, from supplemental materials T, page 19, from the Berncastle documents, page 1348, from the Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs AO9, number 9974. Predicting that one of those present would eventually want to take a rest in a private room, Natsui concealed herself inside a closet in one of the guest rooms. At about 1 p.m., she murdered Hideyoshi after he entered the room. From the trial synopsis, page 61, yes, I'm reading all of these. From supplemental materials T, page 26, from Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs AO9, 9974.
Yeah, I mean, the impression that I'm getting at the moment is that they're all different documents that have no relation to the page numbers, and it's more like the evidence that each group chose to accept as relevant.
Sure.
So it's like, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm assuming supplemental materials is like the stuff that, you know, they give to like the jurors and shit. The trial synopsis is like the media release. The GC internal documents is like the actual, you know, bookkeeping record. And then the Berncastle thing is probably like Bern's personal notes.
Yeah, definitely.
So like seeing which one is which probably tells you about what piece of evidence each group would find relevant.
I do wonder how much lore you could pick up just from these titles. About the Grand Court.
Maybe.
From the time the others became aware of the incident to the time that they carried Hideyoshi's corpse out, Natsu once again concealed herself in the closet. Furthermore, as proof of this, a button from Natsu's clothes was found in the closet. Afterwards, she left the closet and tried to return to her room. However, Fruta Erika found and questioned her first, and she confessed to the crime. From the
Did she?
Did she? This is the fun part. From the trial synopsis, page 63, from supplemental materials T, page 32, from presented evidence, number 26, from the Berncastle documents, page 1348, from the Lambda Delta documents, line 7, from the Grand Court internal documents, General Affairs AO9, number 9974, from the Grand Court internal documents, first subsection U99, number 107, from the Grand Court official notice, number 1 million something.
1,724,434.
Done.
There you go. Easy
Definitely
peasy.
said that. Easy. Numbers are easy.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
Never math on recording.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't number either. GC official notice 1,724,434. Due to the result of illusion trial fucking hell number 147- 007,982, midnight, October 5th, 1986, we announce that the following has been determined.
Who is we?
We, that Ashumi Anatsu did admit to her crime. For 13 months following this announcement, related documents may be perused at the Great Court Legal Officers Document Management Center, first subsection. Great Court Deputy Chief, Head Inquisitor of Heresy, Glanor A. Knox. There you go. There's your we.
There we go. The Einsfern Jungfrau, or whatever it is.
Then let's all assume that I did it, okay? That's what you wanted me to say, right? Ah! As though she'd given up and decided that it'd be useless to try and talk her way out of this any longer.
And that's why he screamed that out. It was a sad incident. I wanted to believe that despite the pitiable circumstances that led to her marriage and the Ashurmia family, Natsui just might have been able to grasp a sliver of happiness together with Uncle Kraus and Jessica. However, by Aunt Natsui's own doing, Uncle Kraus and even her beloved daughter Jessica had been heartlessly killed. It was even harder to believe the grandfather had been an accomplice and hid the corpses. However, judging by the clear testimony given by several people who knew him, grandfather's mental state for these last few years had been far from what anyone would consider normal, especially the last 2 years. He's been pretty fucked over those 2 years.
Ooh.
Perhaps possessed by a mad devotion to the mistress he'd lost long ago, Grandfather might truly have believed that Anatsu was a reincarnation of Beatrice. Where is Grandfather now? Like Erika had theorized, did he really believe that he could revive Beatrice by carrying on murders following the epitaph, succumbing to Natsui's cajolery? Right now, is he holding some kind of disturbing ceremony with the bodies he carried away?
Probably. Are you satisfied now? This is what you wanted to make me say, right?
And Natsui sobbed as she spoke.
This is your revenge, isn't it? You, the man from 19 years ago!
The man from 19 years ago that Natsui kept mentioning was supposedly someone who'd caught her in some sort of trap. However, she'd only mentioned that this man from 19 years ago existed, and she most certainly hadn't tried to explain what had happened 19 years ago.
I'm sure that man's underling is one among us here. I'm sure that right now that man is ridiculing me through one of you. Then tell me, are you happy now? Has a bit of that pain and suffering you've endured for 19 years gone away? I finally understand. The reason you cornered me so far is because you wanted me to make me acknowledge that, right? Natsui-san, other than us, there's absolutely no one here. Please stop this insanely desperate charade, and quit pretending that someone who doesn't exist actually does.
Erika laughed mockingly, but as Natsui looked at us, no, as she looked at some being behind us, she hung her head and shook. Then she confessed to her sin. I committed murder. So, you finally acknowledge your crime directly? No, this is not about what has happened today and yesterday. I will confess to a murder that occurred 19 years ago. It also whispered together, wondering what this was all about. Because they'd never heard about a murder case 19 years ago.
19 years ago, I committed a sin. I couldn't forgive it. That baby. Baby? Now what are you talking about? On that day, 19 years ago, Father entrusted me with a baby, since I still couldn't bear a successor of my own. Father told me to adopt a child, and he made me hold a baby that he said had been brought here from an orphanage. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was to me as a woman?
The mix of conflicting emotions of anger, sadness, regret, and possibly defiance, Natsui confessed. Her humiliation as a woman when she was no longer expected to bear a child, and also the indescribably unpleasant feeling of being made to hold an unfamiliar baby. It caused her great sadness and rage, and before very many nights passed, it ate a hole into her heart.
And then, I sold my soul to demons. It happened when I went on a walk through the rose garden to the harbor, along with a servant holding the baby. I wanted to be alone, but that female servant holding the baby faithfully followed me everywhere. I was unable even to tell her to stop following me, and therefore unable to escape from the child's crying. That day marked the beginning of 19 long, headache-filled years. Then we faced the cliff from across the fence. If by taking that baby and throwing it down onto the rocky beach far below me I could undo it all, I really did listen to that demon's temptation. Then, for the smallest of moments, I thought of how wonderful it would be if I really could do that, and lent an ear to that temptation. At that time, the servant holding the baby stepped on a large rock, twisted her ankle, and staggered. She leaned against the rough fence, and at that time, I thought I heard the fence creak loudly. I told her to look out and tried to grab her shoulder. No, I shouldn't be so vague. I'll repent. I'll confess. At that moment, I'm sure that, as I told her to look out with both hands, I reached for that servant's shoulder with a thud, pushed her away hard. The rough fence snapped from the base, and the servant, along with the baby held in her arms, fell down toward the rocky beach below. Even though I remember that moment vividly, for some reason I recall a vague and very strange feeling. It almost felt as though instead of falling, the two of them were silently swallowed up into empty space. So I didn't even hear the sound of them crashing to the rocky beach, though I'm sure I heard it. But because I wanted to think that they disappeared, I must have erased that sound from my memory.
And then?
For an instant, I thought it was a dream. It was high enough that I couldn't see the two of them below me just by leaning over. So I didn't know whether their fall, or the few seconds before that, had actually happened or not. I must have been wishing so strongly that the child would fall, that I just had a daydream. Trying to make myself believe this, I hurried back to the rose garden. Then I decided to let the servant take care of the baby, choosing to take a rest alone in the garden. Then, Father asked what happened to the baby, and an uproar began over the disappearance of the servant who had been in charge of it. Eventually, the broken fence was discovered, and 2 corpses were found at the bottom of the cliff. The child had apparently been here for reasons that couldn't become known, so its existence was hushed up. And the official story was that the servant had an accident on her own and died. That's right. I stole away 2 innocent lives in one go. As for the poor servant, her family was graciously compensated. Her aged husband, who didn't know the truth, accepted this, even though he grieved over the unfortunate accident. Then just a few years ago, he died of old age, and I confessed the truth over his grave, apologizing. But until this day, I have never apologized to that baby. That's what you're after, isn't it? So right here, right now, I'll confess to my crime. I, Umineko, did 19 years ago, push you off a cliff and tried to kill you. But you didn't die, did you? You're still alive, and you still call me mother. You came to this island and took your revenge on me, didn't you? For these 19 years, you knew that one, you should have called your mother, pushed you off a cliff, and you must have lived a very hate-filled life. And now, you've taken everything I've gained since pushing you off that cliff. 18 years of my life, and smashed it all to pieces. I no longer have my beloved husband and daughter, and I've lost even my honor, and am being called a murderer. No, I really am a murderer, aren't I? That's right. It all went according to your plans. I'm now regarded as a killer. How's that? Is this enough for your revenge? My husband and daughter have been killed. I've been made to look like a murderer, like an adulteress even. After seeing me living in disgrace like this, are you satisfied? Yes, I'll bet you're quite satisfied. Because my family, my honor, everything has been stolen from me. After all this, do you still claim that you were framed? Seriously, you just don't know when to give up. Can you hear me, you, the cursed child from 19 years ago? Are you satisfied now? You've stolen everything from me now. What else could you want? Please, just forgive me.
I'm assuming this is Battler.
I have to assume.
It's useless, isn't it?
Oh. Battler-san, did you say something?
It's all useless.
Battler-kun?
Yeah. It's useless, isn't it? It's all useless.
Whoa! There it is! We don't even get like a snazzy song, it's just, oh fuck. I should be reading these,
Alive at the time of the game's suspension.
Yeah, there it is. It's the end of the game, my dude. Such a weird...
It's not the end, it's
I
the
know,
suspension.
but... it's so weird, I love it so much. Alive at the time. Died in the first Twilight. Alive at the time. Yeah. Super cool. Such a weird credit scene, because usually when we get to these credit scenes, we have like a kick-ass or like super sad fucking song, you know, sometimes with lyrics. But this time it's, I don't know what song this is. It's not Dancing Pipe, I can tell you that much. But yeah, it's a weird...
Oh my god.
A weird credit sequence. And that was very short as well, I think.
Yes, 25 minutes.
25 minutes. I mean, I'm ready to keep going, of course. Oh my god.
We're gonna keep going, but it'll be next time on.
It's true.
Fifth game, End of the Golden Witch.
End of the Golden Witch, my dude. Let's go. from the Cry 4. That golden sunset.
What the fuck did Battler say next, though?
I don't know! I'll have to find out.
I mean, it was midnight on the second day, so they probably all exploded before he finished what he had to say.
Sure.
Oh, are we doing an episode 2? Are we not done yet?
Nah,
no, we're
it.
done.
That's it, boys. What was that, though?
Answer.
That was a weird way to end the credits. What a weird... I love it. This is Chiriba
Yeah,
dudes.
one loud bang at the end of the credits. What could it possibly be?
I know, my dude. It's great, though. I love AP5. It throws everything out of the fucking water. It's great.
Oh, wait, are we gonna get the new title screen, or is that after the tea parties?
After the tea parties.
Damn it.
It's alright.
Next time on...